AI is being talked about ad nauseum. And I don't know about y'all, but I'm getting pretty much sick and tired of hearing about it. And isn't that kind of ironic that this is a video talking about AI? But this is not your average, typical AI video, I promise you that. Because the big question that's on everyone's mind that is not being answered is, what in the world is the end goal? What is all this for? All this technology, all this infrastructure, all these data centers, and all this money that's being funneled into it? What's the end game here? Nobody seems to be able to answer. And that is why I took some time to dig into this as deeply as I possibly could, and I took down some notes. And I want to share those with you because I think answering this question is very, very important. And I just want to say straight up front, this is for entertainment purposes only. I'm just some crazy guy with a camera that has no idea what I'm talking about. There's no evidence to back any of this stuff up. Wink, wink. So I'll tell you what I did. I looked into some of the current happenings that's going on with AI. I documented that. And then I listened to what the people are saying. Because again, nobody can answer the question about what AI is actually going to be used for. Because when you look at the actual data and what they're saying it's going to be used for, it doesn't add up. So I went out and I scoured the web and I found all of the theories that people have on this topic. And I documented those. And I'll just tell you that the last theory is pretty darn crazy. It's actually kind of shocking, a little bit scary. But we're going to go through all 5 of these. I found 5. And oh, by the way, as I go through this, I'm going to try to remove all bias and conjecture from this conversation and just focus on the facts. So I'm not really going to give my input about what I think about this stuff. It's just going to be what I have observed. And I want to hear y'all's input on this as well. I want to know, which theory do you think is most plausible? And it doesn't have to be just one. It could be numerous theories. Maybe it's a combination of all of them. But I want to hear y'all's input on this. But the first thing that we need to do before we dig into the theories is talk about some of the stuff that's happening that doesn't add up. So here's a big one here. So Coweta County, Georgia. Okay, they're implementing eminent domain, and they're trying to take over 330 private properties to expand the power out there. And all that power is going to be basically funneled straight into a $17 billion data center project. It's called Project Sail. It's going to take up 830 acres. So the people that basically have eminent domain forced upon them, some of them are actually filing lawsuits against the county and against the state for trying to take their property. Because to those people in Georgia, this doesn't really make any sense. They're putting this AI infrastructure above the people. They're willing to take their land, and they're willing to put their power and their energy grids at risk to power this data center. It just doesn't add up for these people. It doesn't add up for a lot of people from what I'm finding. And there's another project that's happening. It's called, I don't know what this one's called, but it's happening at Lake Tahoe. And basically what's happening here is that NV Energy is now telling the residents of Lake Tahoe, there's about 49,000 of them, that they're going to have to find their own source of power. Because come, what is it, May 2027, they're going to stop providing 75% of all electricity, and they're going to basically redirect that to data center projects. Kind of sounds very similar to the thing happening in Coweta County, Georgia. And this one's kind of crazy because the energy prices for these people out there around Lake Tahoe has already risen 77% since 2022 because of AI infrastructure. Again, this is another one of those situations where the power grids are basically being stressed to the limit. They're putting these data centers and the AI infrastructure over the people. It doesn't really add up. And another thing that's happening is in Utah. You might have heard this one, but in Utah, this was just recently announced. Kevin O'Leary from Shark Tank, Mr. Wonderful, all right, he just announced that they're going to be breaking ground on a 40,000 acre data center project. 40,000 acres. Now, when I first read this, I was like, there's no way this can be true. It has to be made up. People are getting the numbers wrong. Something's not right. But I did a lot of research into this, and it is actually 40,000 acres. That is 62 square miles, roughly the size of Washington, D.C. This is going to be a data center compound. And this apparently went to local jurisdiction there in Utah, and the people traveled from all over to protest this. But apparently the decision was already made before they even had the hearing, and they approved it. So it's going to happen. And this is going to use 9 gigawatts of power once it's totally done. Now keep in mind that the entire state of Utah, all infrastructure and all residences combined, only uses 4 gigawatts a year. This is going to use 9. It is going to use natural gas, and it's supposedly going to be emitting 35 million metric tons of carbon emissions every single year.